Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Yankee Rebel Wrestlecast. I am Rebel Brian. Below me, in all of his sexiness, is Yankee Tommy. Welcome into the show, everybody. Are you wearing a We the Ones tank top?
Absolutely. I gotta
Nice,
represent. I
nice.
gotta represent.
I'm repping my state tonight. A
Hey,
little
I'd
bit
be
of Go
repping
Big
that too.
Blue.
Go Big Blue,
And
baby.
a little bit of Legends throwback going on too. But we are live and we are ready to have some fun and just have a blast. I am going to go ahead first and make sure as Tommy gets us going here, I'm going to make sure that our stream is showing up on Facebook. So give me just a minute with all the changes, and we will get things rocking and rolling here. I want to thank you guys for tuning in tonight, and we can't thank you enough for being here. Give me just a second, Tommy, and we
Yeah,
will.
man. It's gonna be a great show. We got a lot we're gonna be going through. The draft, some backlash predictions, and I did post a little bit earlier. We're gonna have some fun going over some all-time lists.
Yes,
We got
we
a bunch
are.
of different categories we'll be going through tonight. From anything tag teams to managers, factions, you name it. We're going to be talking about it. We're probably going to disagree quite a bit, but that's
Oh
the
yeah,
name of the game here. Because
no
it's
question.
Pandora's box. We're wide open, so it's
All
going to
right,
be
let me
fun,
go ahead and
guys.
share
Thanks for
this. Hang on
tuning
just
in.
a second.
Whether you're on Twitch, Twitter X, Facebook, YouTube, we thank you for joining us. And it feels good to be back after a week off. I will
It
say I
sure
did miss
does.
it. It felt weird. It felt weird not being live on Friday night.
Talk about the NFL draft a little bit. What did you experience? What was the feels, bro?
So Detroit was pretty electric. I mean, it we I don't know if you heard, but they broke the record in attendance that was previously set by Tennessee. They had like 600,000. They broke over 750,000 over that
Wow.
weekend of people coming in. It was packed, and it's probably one of the only times of the year where you can get everyone from all across the country, like in different teams, and everyone's just happy to be there. Like, no one was kind of badgering each other, unless you happen to be in the NFC North, to which all the other three teams got booed feverishly when the draft started because they had a rundown. So like they would go like each division and they'd say, Eagles, Giants, Cowboys, or whatever, and they just get hit every single team there. Anytime you had the Packers, you had the Vikings, they all just got feverishly booed. So it was quite fun.
Awesome.
And
Well,
and and I will say, controversial or not, best chicken wings I've ever had in Detroit.
no way,
No joke. No joke.
man,
Detroit Wing Company. I'll give them a shout out.
man.
If you're ever in Michigan and you're near a Detroit Wing Company, stop in. Best wings you'll ever have.
Wow. All right, I've got our chat up, but I do want to talk real fast about last week as well. I actually got to go to SmackDown in Cincinnati, me and two of my sons, and we got to experience the draft first night, and I truly felt like I was at a pay-per-view. It was absolutely bonkers, and it was absolutely crazy. Like I've never seen, like I've been in hotter crowds, but Cincinnati was hot, bro. It was hot, and
Cincinnati's a good wrestling town.
it's definitely not Pittsburgh or anything like that by say, um, but it was hot, man. We had a great time. We uh, did the whole deal, food and T-shirts, and I even got my oldest son a Cody belt strap.
Crybaby.
Yeah, the weight belt.
Yep.
Um, so
How
it was
much
a
did
lot of
that pain
fun.
you to buy? Like you bought that. Like how did you
I,
feel?
I didn't care for my son. I just looked at the guy and said, "Can you put that in a bag for me? Because I don't want to hold it."
Just hide it. Like get it to him. I don't want to be seeing
I mean,
carrying it.
yes, over here I do have a Cody autograph. Okay, that's about as far as it's going to go.
It's fair.
And it was cool because he came out like 3 times. I seriously thought they killed him with pyro once. It was almost a Kane incident,
Ooh.
and it shot out instead of shooting up.
Ooh.
And so I was like, somebody don't have a job today. So,
Yeah.
but it was great. It was cool seeing some of the old people as well. The Dudleys were there, Tori Wilson, JBL, Teddy Long.
Holla, holla,
And yeah,
holla!
and it the whole time that Teddy was talking, we were like, and the fourth pick in the fourth round of the NFL draft also has to face the Undertaker. You know, and I was like, but
I
it
thought
was
it would have
great
been
stuff.
funny if he, like, I honestly thought that it would have been hilarious if he said that. Be like, nah, I'm just kidding. It's
Yeah,
actually.
it would have been cool if the Undertaker came out with Teddy Long, but SmackDown was awesome. Had a good time. I got my brother a draft T-shirt. I got the Cincy 316 with the flaming skull on the back. I got my kids' draft shirts. I had to buy a Cody shirt for my oldest. That was painful. And then I got my middle son an LA Knight T-shirt, and then
Yeah!
I got my youngest a draft shirt because he loves the draft. He couldn't go with us because of work, and I just felt bad. So, but let's jump into it, shall we? The France pay-per-view, 1:00 Eastern Standard Time tomorrow, which is so freaking weird. But those different pay-per-view times wear me out. But we're gonna do our predictions. Tommy, I'm gonna let you start off, and we're gonna go down the line because we do have our own picks all time, like Tommy mentioned earlier, and we're gonna go through those tonight, and it could get bloody.
I hope so.
Yeah,
America.
just like Shawn Michaels calls the state of Kentucky to never have blood again in a wrestling match.
Yeah.
Completely banned, bro. It sucks so bad. Thanks, Shawn.
But let's get us started. We're going to start bottom and we're going to work our way up. So the
That's what
women's
she
tag
said.
team. I can't with you sometimes.
I had some spam caller call me, by the way, and right before the show, and D said I was so mean to him, and it was awful because he was like, "Am I speaking with Brian?" I'm like, "Who am I speaking with?" He's like, "I can't tell you until you verify who you are." I'm like, "Well, I can't talk to you till you verify who you are."
So hey, first I want to shout out to my sister for hanging out on Twitch.
Thank you,
Yeah,
sis.
yeah. So we are on Twitch, we are on Facebook, we are on YouTube and Twitter X.
Nice.
Hopefully, one of those you can stream to the TV, but we are on those 4. I
So,
want to shout
so
out to
which
my
one is
baby
she?
mama. Alex is watching. What's up,
Which
baby?
one? I'm trying to see which one is okay. So your sister's there. There's okay. All right, cool. I'm looking at chat right now. So okay, let's go to Backlash predictions because we're going
Yeah, we're
right
going a little
turn.
left. Okay. All right, the women's tag team championship match. I have the Kabuki Warriors winning this match.
What?
Only because, hear me out. You know how big of a fan I am of Jade Cargill.
Yes.
That goes without saying. However, I think they're going to be using this match to set up that feud we mentioned a couple episodes ago. I think somehow, some way,
Interesting.
I think Bianca, is going to cost them the match, doing something stupid, something silly, and I think Jade's going to start to get pissed off, and I think that's going to start Jade Cargill's heel turn, like she was all of AEW when she was at her peak, and I think that she's going to end up facing Bianca here at SummerSlam. That's what I think is going to end up happening. It's going to start that snowball effect for that. So
making
that's
me
my pick.
question myself because I've got Bianca and Jade winning this match because even though I love the Kabuki Warriors, they are my favorite women's tag team, period.
Yeah.
I still think you got to put some gold on Jade.
Which I think will happen because there's been rumors about them maybe adding a like women's intercontinental championship, kind of like a mid card for the
Yeah,
women's, which I think is overdue. I mean, it would only equal
yeah,
the men, which I mean that title you could definitely put on her.
yeah.
But you also got to think Money in the Bank's coming up too,
That's very
so
true.
that could be something that they could put on Jade as well. But
That's
I
that's
just
that's a
see
that's a that's a good theory, man. It's a good Austin theory.
that. Ooh,
Yeah,
going A Town down under.
yeah.
But yeah, I just think that it's going to cause that snowball effect, man. And I think Jade's will get some gold, whether it's Money in the Bank or maybe with the Intercontinental Belt that they're going to come out with. But
That's a good theory. I'm still gonna go with my pick, but your thoughts, your words are gonna be in the back of my mind. By the way, I'm looking at our stream right now, and it looks so damn good.
it does, don't it?
It,
Don't it
I
look
mean,
good?
we look fly, bro. Like it is. That is so dope. But anyway, next match we've got Randy Orton and Kevin Owens versus the Bloodline, and this is gonna be a massacre. This match will be a massacre.
Yep.
And I have actually got the Bloodline going over because
As
they
you could.
have to have this heat moving into SummerSlam.
Mm.
They have to.
Yeah, absolutely.
What do you got, Tommy, on this one? You're giving me that look.
I no. I am right with you. I'm going Bloodline as well, but I'm going to add something to it. Bloodline's going to win because of a Jacob Fatu debut. That's what I got coming. I got a Jacob Fatu
Interesting.
debut because you're probably going to have the Bloodline on the ropes as per usual, and then you're going to have a large ass Samoan come out and start super kicking people. It's going to be a Samoan werewolf.
Which we do want to give a shout out to Jacob Fatu. We actually
Absolutely.
reached out to him, and he wants to do the show, but I'm like, we're a poor radio show, and so I'm like, I would love to pay the money to have Jacob Fatu on the show, but I'm like, bruh. But we want to give him a shout out because it was awesome
Absolutely.
that he wrote us back and was like, this is awesome, and stuff. But yeah, if we see a beginning entrance for Jacob Fatu, I'm all for it. I'm all for it because he is a beast. Would we consider the bloodline more powerful now than it was with Roman?
Yeah, I honestly do because you don't have anyone there with a belt. You got guys who are hungrier, and I don't think during his tribal chief run that obviously Roman was super hungry because he knew I'm top dog and this is how it's going to be. You
Yeah,
got Solo and Tamatonga who are scratching and clawing to get that brass ring and get to the top, and I think hungrier dogs fight harder, man.
absolutely.
And I mean, you saw when they busted Kevin Owens open. I'm like, they're really letting this fly, aren't they?
Yeah,
And I'm like, this is what we needed. And the bloodline story didn't end at WrestleMania. It's just getting started, like they
yeah.
said. There's going to be many layers coming from this because you got to think either, like, I'm predicting Survivor Series, you're going to have War Games. And you're going to have it announced shortly before that because you'll probably have the final boss come back. And I picture it kind of like how Vince was revealed as the higher power, if you remember that.
It was
It's
me,
me,
Austin. It was
Austin.
me all
Oh, son
along.
of a bitch. Yeah, that's how I think it's gonna like in my mind. I just picture that when they reveal The Rock as who's been giving orders to all of them
Yeah,
because it only makes sense. And when Roman comes back, because Jey Uso, I don't know if you heard, Jey Uso did say, as long as they keep that family stuff on SmackDown, I'm not going to get involved. I see it's going to probably trickle onto Raw here soon.
Yeah.
And,
And let's not forget Jimmy got beat up.
well, right, and he wasn't in the draft because he's out. Roman's a free agent. He withdrew from the draft. I think you're going to see them come on to Raw because Cody's on SmackDown. They're going to go on Raw, and Roman's going to be like, we got to get the troops back together.
Yeah.
We got to get OG Bloodline to take on the
Three-man
new school
band, baby.
Bloodline. Absolutely.
All right. Get our next match going.
Well, the women's championship match between Tiffy Time, Bailey, and Naomi. I got Bailey easy.
I think Bailey as well, and it's going to set up a Bailey versus Tiffany Stratton storyline all the way through SummerSlam.
And I am fine with that.
I'm
And
applauding it.
I am, sign me up. If you need me to be special guest ref, I'll be there. Whatever, however I can help. I'll even ring the damn bell. I don't care.
Yeah, I think that they are grooming her to be the next women's champion, and they're going to let Bailey have her run, and I think at SummerSlam it ends.
Oh, wow, that early?
Yeah, I do.
Wow.
Because we got to remember who's in charge. What did he used to be in charge of? NXT.
Mm-hmm.
And he wants to see that new generation rise up.
Which I can see happening. But again, that's where I kind of hope that he uses like the King of the Ring and Queen of the Ring and the Money in the Bank matches towards that.
Yeah.
Man.
Well, I mean, we watched a good match, for main event of SmackDown, Cody Rhodes, versus Carmelo, and Carmelo gave it his all, but that last spot was a little wonky, and I'm hoping that Cody didn't re-hurt his shoulder again, just for the sake of SmackDown.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and honestly for him, because as much as we groan and all this stuff about the Cody Crybabies, the man's busted his butt, and I'd hate to see him pull like a Finn Balor where he wins a title and loses it faster than he's had it.
And he goes on the shelf, and then he's forgotten in the mid card.
Right. Which I would hope with Hunter wouldn't happen. Vince, I could easily see that happening.
Yeah.
But anyway, back to the women's match.
Yeah.
I think Bailey deserves a little bit of a longer run. Like maybe even if you take it off of her.
I don't.
You don't?
I think the 4 horsewomen have had their run, bro. I really do. And I don't think they should have put the strap on Becky either.
No, I completely agree with you there. I don't think Becky needed it nor deserved it at that time. But
because Seth is on the shelf, so then she says, okay, well I have to continue because Seth is on the shelf now, and I've got to step up for my family. And then I'm sure that meeting went by with, okay, we'll put the strap on you, Becky, again. And
which is dumb.
And it's what it feels like now. I like babyface Bailey, but I don't think it's as impactful as they think it is. Does that make sense? It's like it's just not going to be one of those memorable runs.
But do you think that Tiffany is ready? Do you think she's legitimately ready to be the face of the company at this point?
She will be by SummerSlam.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
We'll wait and see, man.
Yeah.
But
if my brother is watching somewhere, he's like, yes. Yes.
Of course he is, because if she sold a pair of her ring-worn trunks, he'd be the first one buying them.
All right, our next match, we are looking at Damian Priest, the new World Heavyweight Champion, versus Jey Uso. I'm going complete spoiler here. And I'm going with Jey Uso because somebody that is ex-Bloodline, this is this guy's last shot at being a main event person. He is more over than Damian Priest. And I think that somehow or another, Jay finds a way to win this title, and then we start seeing the fall and collapse of the Judgment Day.
Yeah. I struggle with this one because I'm a big Jey Uso fan and I want to go Jey Uso. Exactly. I just, for the life of me, I just can't see them taking it off Priest that early. But I mean, then again, they could because they did pigeonhole themselves, waiting as long as they did. Um, so,
Think about it. Who's selling more T-shirts?
well, obviously Jey Uso.
Yeah,
But but then I can retort with, why isn't LA Knight has his title yet?
that's true. That's true.
He's been white hot for over a year, and he's lost championship match after championship match, and he's in the same boat as Jey Uso right now.
Yeah.
So I struggle to see them taking off a Priest right now, but I just want to pick Jey Uso because I just want to see him finally win because he's lost his last 5 championship matches he's been in.
Yeah.
And
I think what better place to put a new strap on somebody than France?
I mean, yeah. Yeah, I mean, this match to me is kind of up in the air.
Yeah. I just don't. I just like. I want to like Damian Priest, and I loved him in ROH as what was it?
What was he?
I want to say Prison Martinez, but it was something
that sounds
to the
right.
nature.
Martinez sounds right.
Yeah.
Let me do some research. Here, yeah.
But I liked his NXT run. I love when he won the NXT title and he's back in the hot tub with some chicks and Triple H comes out and everything. And I mean, I liked him in NXT, but he's just, even for us that are smart marks, he's just not likable even as a heel.
Yep, it was Punishment Martinez.
Punishment Martinez, yeah. And he was bigger then too, man. Like he was big around than what he is now. But he's just unlikable on a babyface way and a heel base as well. I can't, dude.
I think his biggest problem is his character development. He doesn't have a whole lot of charisma. And to be honest, like, the Judgment Day is supposed to be this dark group, and I don't know what's dark about them. The only thing dark about them is like their entrances.
That's it, bro.
And I mean, sure they dress the part, but they don't act it. So it's like
it's like that group of emo kids that you never talked to in high school.
Right. It's like I just don't get what his character is supposed to be and what his motives are.
Dude,
because like
the guys that dressed up in the cloaks for the Undertaker entrance is more creepier than the Judgment Day is.
Correct. There's nothing scary about them. I'm more afraid of the Brood.
That's a good point. Gangrel used to scare the crap out of me, bro.
Yeah, I mean the fangs and the blood coming from the rat. No, stay away, man.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll go Jey Uso because I just don't get Priest.
Yeah, like I just don't get the title run, and I know that Triple H loves him, but I just don't see it. You've got to put a strap finally on Jey Uso.
I just think, last point, I just think he's kind of stuck in the rut that Roman was before he became the tribal chief. It's like you got something there, but you don't really know what you got. Like, he's not there yet.
Yeah.
But I mean, by the time Roman was tribal chief, he had 3 or 4 championships already,
and he was still dressing in the Shield gear.
Right. So maybe he'll find his niche here at some point because he's very talented in the ring. It's just his character I just don't get.
Yeah. Take us in the main event, Tommy.
Well, main event. We got old Cody Rhodes and AJ Styles.
We've got what's the character in The Boys? Oh God. See, I'm having trouble with names tonight. That's awful.
What were you saying?
The guy from The Boys on Amazon. It's what Cody Rhodes reminds me of. Starlander, is that his name? No.
I don't know.
But
I don't
anyway,
know, but
and against Mr. Head and Shoulders himself, AJ Styles.
absolutely. If that man needs to be sponsored because he's got a nice head of hair. But
Yes,
anyway,
he does.
this is. I got Cody Rhodes winning this.
It's a no brainer. This is a filler
Yeah,
match.
yeah. I mean,
There's been maybe 3 shows where it was built up, and this is just a filler match.
well, yeah, like this match is just to add a nice name onto Cody's championship resume.
Yeah.
Like I defeated Roman, I defeated AJ, just stacking names to legitimize his run, which,
Well, not only
is
that, but with AJ talking retirement, he can go, well, I had a championship match with Cody. We tore the house down in France.
right,
That kind of thing.
right, yeah. I just don't see this match going any other way. There's no scenario where I see Cody losing this match. It's just not going to happen.
Can we go into our next topic now?
Absolutely, we
I
can.
got to get us ready. Hang on a minute.
Absolutely, we can. I've been waiting for this one for
I know
2
you have.
weeks. For 2 weeks, I've been waiting to talk about All Elite. What? Because I can't even call it wrestling anymore. Look at this clown. Look at this clown.
You
I
were there,
refuse to.
Tommy.
He looks. I called him a pencil neck. Look, his hair looks like an eraser. I'm like, he literally looks like a pencil. And Tony, if your neck hurts that bad, why are you turning your head, you jackass? Oh my god. This dude drives me nuts. This company drives me nuts. That's why I call it All Elite. What? Because it's not wrestling. Yeah, look at this mark. That's just a bad mugshot. Dude, he looks like what freaking Jimmy Uso did in his DUI mugshots. It looks awful. He's got a porn stash going, and his hair looks like he's homeless, man.
Oh my god!
What is wrong?
If you ever need to screenshot this, go ahead, guys. We'll. That's great.
Oh,
So, talking about AEW. Let's talk about the main. Before we get into the main elephant in the room, which is this schmuck over here to our left, can Swerve and Tony carry that company?
I don't know.
I mean, Tony's definitely, she is carrying the women's division, bar none.
But did you see the press conference that she gave?
Yeah.
I lost a lot of respect for her during that press conference because it's just another thing you didn't need to say, but you said it anyway. And I'm sure that clown approved of it because he just wants all the clout. He just wants his name in all the headlines. He's literally the Jerry Jones of professional wrestling. He's got nothing good to say, but he's damn sure going to try to sell it.
Yeah.
Like, stop talking about WWE and focus on your own shit.
Yeah.
I mean, I love Toni Storm. She's a great talent. I love Swerve. Super talented. But this shit is, if it's turning me off, it's got to be turning some other people off. Because I'm not the only one who feels this way. And I know you can echo that sentiment.
And we love AEW. I mean, how many shows have we been to? We went on the Jericho cruise.
Yeah.
We've seen time and time again that this company has something, but as long as this schmuck and the Bucks are at the helm, it's gonna continue to get shittier. It really is.
Yeah, because like it's just like the chickens are running the hen house. Like, everyone's making their own executive decisions, and Tony's got the unlimited paycheck to write, and he's just gonna write it to make you happy. And he's just doing what WCW did, signing checks to try to make money. And
that's it.
eventually it's going to flounder if you don't get your stuff in gear. Because
Well,
Triple H is going to run right over you. He's
but not
going
only
to.
that, but nobody's being safe, bro.
No. Everyone's
Everybody's
just.
getting injured. It's they're. I get it. High spots are wonderful. High spots are so fun to watch. But if you're not going over them a week before the match, testing it out, see if it's going to be good, and you're just going in and calling the moves in the ring at the time of the match, you're going to have half your roster on injury.
Well, and that also goes to show you how undisciplined the AEW roster is because you remember, because you're a big fan, when Macho Man and Steamboat had their classic,
Yes.
and they literally just wrote down on, one, like, just one, two, they had like 200 or whatever
Yeah.
moves, but they studied this and they were so good that they could do that.
That was actually the route of time that Macho Man slapped a fan in the stands
Yeah.
and got arrested. Yeah, that was good, man. That was a good run.
But like it's just some of my favorite matches growing up was, WrestleMania. You had Rock and Austin. Those matches, there weren't all these flips and moonsaults and all this stuff. They captured you by their story, their ring presence,
Yeah, they didn't
and
have to
just
even talk. They just
no.
came to the ring and the crowd was barking over it.
Well, yeah, because you got Stone Cold come in, run in the ring, and they just start fighting. They're clamoring for it, man.
Yeah,
There's no emotion to me. There's not enough emotion. There's not enough story. It's just let's see how many super kicks we can do. Let's see
yeah.
how many flips we can do. Let's just oversaturate these moves so they mean nothing.
And if they think that having the elite back and waiting on Kenny Omega to return that it's going to be the savior of AEW, they are very wrong.
No.
Because we won't want to see Kenny Omega versus the Bucks. We want to see Kenny Omega versus Will Ospreay.
Absolutely.
That's we don't want to even hear about the elite when Kenny Omega comes back.
No. Not at all. I don't even want to see them back together. Like
No.
I just they're trying too hard to push these things at you while still doing this crap. So it's like you can't even stay focused on what you want to stay focused on because it's just here we go again.
Yeah.
Here's Tony off the rails.
Yeah. I agree. And with that, let me go back to our panels here. With that, we are going to jump into probably the one of the first times that me and Tommy are probably ever going to get heated at each other. We're going to go into our favorite all-time wrestlers, and we've got different categories. I want to get our viewers in check with this as well. If you've got a favorite, I want to
Put it in the
discuss it.
chat.
Yeah, put it in the chat.
Put it in the chat. We do. This is supposed to be as much us having a conversation as us having a conversation with you guys
Yeah,
too.
absolutely,
We want to
absolutely.
have an open-ended conversation and get you guys involved because it's not just our opinions that matter; it's y'all's that matter too. So we
Yeah,
want to get your take as well.
I I don't have all the pictures because that would have been a lot of pictures. But
Well,
I do want to start off. There's some categories that you just cannot pick one, so we picked two on certain parts of this. But let's start off with tag team, and this is tough for me because I'm a tag team
same,
wrestling guy.
same.
So I'm going back to my childhood. Okay,
Okay,
my childhood, the early '80s, moving into the end of the '80s, and my two that I picked. Second one's going to blow your mind, and I'll give you my reasons why.
okay,
But the first is the Heart Foundation.
all right.
Heart Attack was amazing. One of the best wrestling moves, period. It was one of those moves that when you got put in it, you know your ass was going to get pinned.
Yeah,
And it was almost like the Road Warriors, but the Road Warriors were like my close third. My second tag team is Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard.
Ooh. Okay.
And the reason being is because they didn't have to flip. They didn't have to do all this showmanship. It was arm bars, headlocks, it was kicks to the groin, and it was brain busters at the end with an Arn Anderson complete just annihilation of people in the ring. That's all it was. And then they also were part of the Four Horsemen, so they had that glamour.
Yep.
But Arn and Ole was like the grit guys, while Tully and Rick was like the suave guys with all the women and all that. And I really think, I really think that Arn and Tully made a good tag team. You had grit and class.
Absolutely.
And you needed something to get done, you called Arn. But you needed something really, really sinister done, you called Tully.
Yeah.
So that's my two favorite. I know my brother's, if he's watching, he's like, Road Warriors, bro. What are you talking about? Road Warriors don't pick. Road Warriors were great. Don't get me wrong. They had that ring presence.
Yeah.
They were jack dudes from Minneapolis. But the Hart Foundation and Tully and Arn, man, those guys and I could put the Rock and Roll Express in there, because they're in the top 5 along with the Midnight Express. But the Stan Lee version, not the Dennis version.
Actually, we're gonna get into our favorite wrestlers here soon. We're doing tag teams currently. Get John Cena out of here. Somebody please mute her chat. Somebody please mute. Please mute the chat.
Oh.
But yeah, just to piggyback off of you and your tag teams, I'm gonna go to one that I grew up with, and then honestly a current team who I think deserves to be in that stratosphere when it's all said and done. The first one being the Dudley Boys.
Yeah, see, I was there with that too.
I just think you had the perfect combination. They were innovative, revolutionary. Exactly. Oh, yeah.
Testify.
Voila!
And Devon didn't care to look at a lady in the crowd and be like, "Shut up, you fat bitch."
Exactly.
He didn't care.
No. And back then they didn't, and that's they changed the business. ECW changed the business, which we'll get into all that. But I just think they're obviously the most decorated tag team in history.
Yes.
And they were just innovators, and they changed the business. So I think it's hard to leave them off. And shout out to Bully Ray. Love you, man.
Yeah, get away from Busted Open.
Hardy Brothers. The Hardys are definitely
Is that too. the high version or the sober version?
You gotta give me them boys in the end of the 90s when they were on something.
Yes.
You gotta give me them when they're on something. But yeah, I mean, my second one might shock you a little bit, but I'm gonna go FTR.
See, I think Tully and Arn.
Exactly.
That's FTR.
That's why I was with you. They're the new age of Tully and Arn. That no flips, just fists.
Yes.
And they're just grit to the grindstone. Love them as people. They are amazing, and one of the best entrance musics in professional wrestling.
No question. Sorry. No question.
If you don't love their music or haven't heard it, go look up FTR theme song.
Yeah,
it's great. But yeah, so for me, the Dudleys and FTR are two of my all-time favorite.
I'm not angry about that.
Just because they bring you back to that old school. We're not flipping. Sure, the Dudleys did their dive, but they're not doing moonsaults and all this stuff. FTR sure as hell ain't doing them.
Yeah.
So,
all right, let's move on to the next category, and that is wrestling manager. I had to go with two. One of them is probably the most underrated. The other, actually, these two guys are probably the most underrated, period. And the first one we're probably going to agree on, and that is Armando Alejandro Estrada. ¿Qué pasa? Listen, to me.
Me. I'm with the Samoan bulldozer.
Ooh.
Umaga.
And
Or as William
so
Regal likes to
underrated.
call him, Umanga.
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 Umanga man. Um, sorry, I thought of Terrence Howard right there. I was like, why do you never see Spider-Man and Batman in the same room, man? But I think Armando is one of the most underrated managers of that 2000 mid 2000 era.
I wholeheartedly agree.
Because that wrestling went stale then. It went very stale. And in that time frame. And Umaga was just beating the hell out of everybody. And which we'll talk a little bit more about that moving into the ending of the show, but
yeah.
But he was just the perfect manager. The Cuban white suit with the white hat, his cigar after the win.
Yeah.
It had promo skills like no other.
Oh.
And I just really, really enjoyed him. And then when WWE let him go, I was just heartbroken.
Yeah, he didn't deserve that at all. No.
My second, I don't know if you agree with it or not, but I think very underrated, way before your time, but I know you know who he is J.J. Dillon.
Really? Really?
J.J. Dillon, Four Horsemen would not be who they are from a IRS version because J.J. Dillon was their lawyer. He was their correspondent.
I mean, he definitely made you hate them more.
Oh yeah.
If you didn't hate the Four Horsemen with Rick, Tully, Arn, and the boys, J.J. Dillon would really make you hate them.
Oh, and I feel like that he kept them more focused, and I think he did that as a work and in real life. And then he went on into WCW, started managing other people. But I think that J.J. Dillon is one of the most underrated managers of all time.
I honestly wouldn't have picked it. Highly respect J.J. Dillon, but I wasn't, honestly, sadly, wasn't even on my radar, and it's going to be a surprise, and I'll tell you why
I'm
later.
old. Okay.
But I love you for it.
Yeah, appreciate that.
Yeah, I was definitely with you with the Armando pick. We kind of were talking about that.
We did.
That was kind of one of the ones we both agreed on. But I just got to do it because I know it ticks some people off. But man, am I a Paul Heyman guy.
See, Paul Heyman was in the top 3 for me.
And I am a Paul, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, when he says that, you automatically know who it is.
Well, see, I remember Paul Heyman as Paulie Dangerously.
Yeah.
WCW with
Dangerous
the big cell phone. And guess who he managed back then? Mean Mark.
Mark Callis. Yep.
Which was The Undertaker.
Yeah. I'm telling you, everybody he touches turns to gold. Besides Curtis Axel and Ryback. But we're not going to talk about that.
Yeah, we'll
Undertaker. Stone Cold Steve Austin. Brock Lesnar. Roman Reigns. He has history with the Anoa'i family. This man's done it all. He was a part of Brock Lesnar defeating The Undertaker, breaking the streak. I mean, this man's been doing it for years, and he's still on top of his game.
Absolutely,
he lost it.
I've got him in my top 3, so I'm not going to disagree with that at all.
That's respectively. And okay, honorable mention is Bobby the Brain Heenan. I
will give Bobby the Brain honorable mention, but I like Bobby the Brain better as a commentator than I do manager.
Agree. I loved listening to Bobby Heenan in WCW with commentary. He was
him
gold.
And Larry Sabisco going at it, bro.
They were underrated.
Constantly.
They are probably my number 2, which we don't even have this on here, but I'll just go on anyway. My number 2 announcing duo behind JR and the King. and I would throw in
Where's
Gorilla
Shivani?
Monsoon. No,
Where's
no.
Shivani, bro?
Shivani's a little bit down the list. He's on it, but he's not, man.
Bro, my wife is in there. She's screaming right now, dude. She's a Shivani guy.
I'm not hating on Tony. I'm not. He's in my top five, but he's not in the top three.
We had Shivani and Jim Ross in WCW, bro.
I know, but JR and the King is something else. That's something else, and you know it.
So
You and I both know that.
oh my god, I think your sister said let's talk about The Rock.
Should, should I divulge this story? I don't know. Oh man. So I will say this just for my mother. Kevin Kaplasky loves The Rock. He loves The Rock. He loves when my mom talks about The Rock. He loves when my mom may or may not dream about The Rock. I don't know. But yeah, we will get to the final boss later. I wanted to put the plug for them.
Yeah, I
Um,
love plugs like that, man. Those are fun.
they are they make the show better, and I love the interaction, so I'm all
Yes.
for it. But
So
let's
move
go
on,
to our next one, man.
which is referee. We won't talk much about this one because there's only one goat, and that is Charles Robinson. Now, my wife is saying, what about Aubrey? Aubrey is the GOAT. But Charles Robinson, other than Mike Chioda, probably refereed more matches than anybody other than Earl. But Earl
You
is,
are disrespecting Earl freaking
yeah,
Hebner.
yeah, I am. Charles Robinson's the
Disrespecting.
greatest referee of all time.
No, Earl Hebner is the goat, and I don't even want to. There's nothing else to say. Actually, you know what? There is something to say. Earl Hebner. I have a little note here about about some of the memorable matches that he was a part of. Montreal Screwjob. I mean, so he's probably one of the more controversial ones, just because he was
Don't forget
involved in a
about
lot of.
the twin thing in the Hogan match in
Oh,
WrestleMania.
yeah, no, I'm getting there. Andre's controversial world title win over Hogan. You had Mick Foley when he won when WCW tried to spoil it when they had that tipping point of the Monday Night Wars. He was a part of all the Austin Rock ones, a lot of the Taker ones coming up. The man's seen it and done it all. And I'm really ticked he's not in the Hall of Fame because he should have been the first referee that was in. But they're gonna Vince wants to omit him because of that whole T-shirt selling
Yeah,
nonsense. Like he to me, Charles and Mike carried the mantle when he left, and I respect him for it. But to me, there's only one OG.
there is only two people in professional wrestling that has beautiful hair: AJ Styles and Charles Robinson.
Well, you got to put Ric Flair in there because Ric Flair, he
If
was he was little Flair. You remember?
Yeah, he
You
was little
remember
Flair,
little
but you
Flair?
but if you put Ric Flair in there for the greatest hair, you got to throw in Michael P.S. Hayes too, back in the Fabulous
Absolutely,
Freebirds days,
absolutely.
because he's like
Oh yeah,
the whole wavy,
yeah.
you know. And then I go back to the what was the wrestling gimmick show that we had years and years ago that had John
Oh,
Cena and Fandango
oh,
commentating and
no.
I can't remember the
I
name
don't
of
know.
it,
I
but
I tend to tune out things John Cena for the most part for certain reasons.
yeah,
So
it
I
was so good. That's when Tyler Breeze did the banker and all that. Is so good, dude. It was uh, and Gallows and Anderson faced each other, and Gallows pulls up in like a 1979 Camaro with Texas
Yep.
cowboy boots on. It was so funny, man.
I will give
But
Cena
yeah,
love when
Charles
he deserves.
Robinson. I've got Charles Robinson. My oldest son would agree with me on this, and Charles Robinson's greatest ref. Now, I did tune in to an autograph signing for Earl Hebner one time, and the man sat there and drank like 12 beers while he
Yeah,
was signing
I was
autographs.
I was on one of those. I have an Earl Ebner autograph.
Do you
I got one.
really?
Yeah, so I can't remember the site that had it. I think it was like Thinking Signatures, I think, and they had Earl Ebner
Yeah.
on there. And I watched it, and I think he signed a 16 by 20 of. It was him, and I think it was Austin and Shawn Michaels. And he signed a 16 by 20 that I have of
What if we
him.
were
So
watching the same show, bro, and it was
we
destined?
probably were. I guarantee you we probably were.
Yeah,
That's
that's weird.
crazy.
All right, so let's go into EC Dub,
EC
and
Dub, EC Dub, EC Dub.
right here is my pick. Right there, the man, the suplex machine with the
real
FTW title.
the real FTW title.
Yes.
Not that crap they pawn off nowadays.
Which doesn't Jericho have it right now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love Jericho, but yeah.
But Hook is Hook.
Hook is Hook.
Which, I mean, it's this man's son, for God's sakes. I mean,
yeah.
So Taz is definitely my favorite ECW guy of all time. I could put Rob Van Dam in there. I could put Shane in there. I could put a ton of people in there. Jerry Lynn. I could put so many different people in there. But this man made an impact on me in ECW just because he come out with a towel on his head. He'd come in the ring, wouldn't say nothing for a while, kick some ass and leave.
Yeah. Yeah,
Taz. Who you got? I'm curious.
Taz he was definitely in the conversation, and you know, we talked before the show. I don't want to do too many duplicates because I could have easily said the Dudleys because they're literally one of my all-time favorites, but they're my favorite tag team. I want to give it something special. To me, it's going to be kind of a surprise to you, but I'm going to go with the homicidal, the suicidal,
okay.
the genocidal, Sabu.
I've got a funny Sabu story. You want to hear it?
Absolutely, I do.
It actually took place when all of us were on the Jericho cruise together.
No shit.
So we were watching one of the earlier wrestling shows, and I'm sitting next to an old ECW producer. And we're sitting there chilling, reliving some old wrestling stories, and this person comes up behind us and puts their hands on our shoulders. And I turn around, and it's Sabu.
No shit.
And the first thing he does is hand us a marijuana vape and was like, I can't do this by myself. And so I got to smoke weed with Sabu.
That's awesome. That is so cool.
And I've got a picture of me and him doing this together. It's so good. So good, man. But yeah, that's a story I'm going to tell my grandkids. I'm going to be like,
dude,
Poppy smoked weed with Sabu.
I mean, literally, all you got to do is upgrade to RVD, man, and
that's it.
Really, right.
But you get a contact buzz by being around RVD. That's the only difference.
Dude, yeah, and I mean, just Sabu's style was so different. Like, he was the most finesse, hardcore wrestler I've ever seen. Like, he wasn't the fastest in the world. He wasn't the hardest hitting, but what he did was effective. Like, when he hit you, it was with purpose. There wasn't a misstep with this man.
Jumping off the chair into the crowd.
Oh, dude, legendary.
Yeah.
I remember one of my favorite pay-per-views of all time is I want to say it's a 2005, the ECW One Night Stand, when it was actually ECW, not the watered down crap that it turned out to be. We did get
RVD and Cena, and there was so many signs. If Cena wins, we riot.
Dude, that's one. Seriously, like, I could sit there tonight and watch this pay-per-view. It's one of my all-time favorite pay-per-views. From top to bottom, you had Eddie and you had Benoit. Yep. You had Cena and RVD. You had Edge, and the Hardys, man. It was
other than Big Show match, which I don't know why Big Show. Lashley, I can understand to a certain extent.
Yeah.
CM Punk, I can definitely understand, but
But then at the end, when Stone Cold came out with all of them, was cussing out the WWE guys.
Yeah.
And Paul Heyman's promo, just legendary. I mean, it was wonderful. I loved it.
And then Vince closes it.
He's gotta say something.
Yep.
Gotta say something. But let's switch gears a little bit. So we got a little specific with how we broke down a couple of these categories. So we're talking specific WWF.
Yes. This is before
They
the
turned
World
WWE.
Wildlife Foundation
And yeah,
decided to
that
sue WWF and make them change their name.
yeah.
Which I wish to God back in the days I would have bought the T-shirt with the pandas hitting each other with chairs.
Oh,
But I didn't
we
buy
gotta
one.
we gotta get those for the show and just wear them one day.
Well,
But
this one's a no-brainer for me because I'm a WWF kid. And I grew up in this era, and I watched all the pay-per-views. I watched Saturday Night Main Event. I watched every time that WWF was on. And I got to go with Macho Man Randy Savage completely.
okay. I'm gonna go towards the tail end of the WWF. I'm gonna go Stone Cold Steve Austin. Stone
Yeah,
Cold
see, I
Steve
didn't go that
Austin
far.
because you can't in my opinion you can't put him in WWE because his career was pretty much over at that point.
That's true. That's a good point.
His peak was he was WWF champion, the last person to hold the winged eagle, ushered in the Attitude Era, and took WWE to heights it hadn't seen before.
Yes, I
So
agree with
to
that
me,
100%.
and being he's one of, and you can account one of the greatest wrestlers of all time, just bar none. He is my pick, and I'm sticking with it.
Well, I won't argue with that. I won't argue with that at all. Um, I'm just
It's
a little
just
bit. I'm just a little bit older than you.
well, and that just goes to show you the eras we grew up in. Because you grew up with the Macho Mans, the Steamboats, and I'm just a little bit later, but you're not wrong in your estimation because there's two different WWFs. If
Yes,
you
there
break it
is.
down, you got the Golden Era and you got the Attitude Era,
Yeah,
and so you can't go wrong with whoever because you're not
and
wrong with Macho Man.
I mean, Austin would be second, but the promos that Macho Man put out, bro, the cream of the crop.
Dude, they make me laugh. I watch them now. I just get up and
And you
laugh.
know that he is on so much cocaine at that time
That's right,
that
baby. That's
that he
right.
just comes out and he's like, Mean Gene, the cream of the crop. And I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? It's like watching a watered down version of an Ultimate Warrior promo. But you love them because you love Macho Man. He's a Kentucky boy. He played baseball for the Reds. I mean, he's us. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And he's from Waddy Paytonia, right up the road, like 40 minutes up the road. So
I just
I'm,
loved
I'm,
when he
I'm a
talked
huge
about
Macho Man
Hulk
fan.
Hogan. I loved him and Hulk Hogan's feud. I thought it was amazing.
The Mega Powers, yeah,
Oh yeah.
yeah, the weirdest handshake of all time.
The slowest handshake of all time.
Yes, but I definitely got to go with you on Austin. Austin, but see, I watched Austin when he was in WCW as Stunning Steve. Which was managed by who? J.J.
Oh,
Dillon,
yeah.
and then he went to ECW, and Paul Heyman's like, "Okay, you're pissed off at WCW, then do something about it." So
He
here
he
he's behind a
he
desk.
brought the Stone Cold out of Stone Cold.
He brought the smoke, brother. I mean, I've never heard anybody do a complete shoot on a company and got permission to do it.
Yeah.
I
Well, and
mean,
then like CM Punk all these years later, but
yes,
you know,
God, the pop bomb.
oh, legendary. We
So,
gotta have one show in the future. We have to break down. I'd say our top 5 all-time promos. I think that'd be really interesting if we
I hope that
broke
I can
down.
put them up on screen.
Oh, that'd be amazing. If Restream would let us, I'd be game because
Yeah.
Because I could do a whole show. Hey, we'll just sit and watch these promos. And
Yeah,
we'll
we'll
talk
just
about
let
them.
everybody just sit with us and watch promos.
Yeah.
We're gonna jump into WCW. I've actually got a picture for that one. Give me just a minute. Da-da-da.
Ric Flair.
A little bit of flair.
Woo!
Look at that, man.
10 pounds of gold, baby.
Look at that belt, bro. Look at that robe, more importantly. Now that's a robe.
Yeah. Dave LaGreca, that is a robe. Not
Yes.
that crap that you have on. That
Fuck
is
Dave
a robe.
LaGreca.
Thank you. Hashtag.
He is a dude. I've never seen anybody that doesn't want to get involved as this guy ever. Like I'm chump change this guy. Anyway, we're not going to get started there again.
No.
When you think about WCW, you think about two people. You think about Flair and you think about Sting. That's it.
Hey, speaking of my pick, I actually picked Sting because he and I don't want to use this comparison in a derogatory way, but just bear me out. He is to WCW was what Undertaker was to WWE. He was the constant. He was there through the ups and the downs and the ebbs and flows,
I've
and
got to
was
show you
there.
something. Hang on.
Show me. I can't wait to see what this is. Bro, what do you got?
This was a Christmas present from my brother.
No way, a signed figure?
Yeah,
The Luminary one?
yeah.
Yo, that is
And I've
dope.
actually got a Beach Sting autograph hanging on my wall.
That's dope.
So
That
we
that
go.
is cool. I gotta bring on the show one time. You know how big of a Lesnar fan I am.
Yes.
Dude, I have a signed Brock Lesnar UFC glove.
No way.
Yep. I'm gonna bring it on the show. It's got the I think it's PSA. Yeah. PSA cert. Beautiful, dude. I got a nice display case. But yeah, my favorite WCW is Sting. I mean, it's kind of hard to pick one him, because I'm pretty sure they had the first match and the last match of WCW.
They did. You are
Yeah.
100% correct.
So that just goes to show you they were that show.
And that's not taking anything away from the other wrestlers in WCW. When they signed Hall and Nash, when they signed Hogan, when they signed Lex Luger, when they signed Macho Man, I mean, that's not taking anything away from them. That was just Bischoff spending all of Ted Turner's money.
True.
And done a damn good job at it. Because when you start beating WWE, you've done something.
Yeah.
But when it comes down to it, Flair and Sting is what WCW was founded on.
Absolutely.
And you could throw Dusty Rhodes in there, but Dusty eventually went to commentary and all that.
And honestly, Dusty was kind of all over the place. I mean, he was backstage, he was in WCW. He was in a lot of different promotions.
Yeah.
And
Florida Championship.
Yeah, and he just wasn't, I mean, not who I would associate WCW with, because he just is everywhere. Like, Dusty is wrestling. He's all over. You can't pin him to one specific location, because
He was more NWA, I think.
Yeah,
true. More NWA. But let's jump into our next category.
Factions. And
factions.
This is gonna kind of spitball into what you were talking about earlier with tag teams. I'm going the Four Horsemen.
Four Horsemen is in my top, but hang on just a second. I'm multitasking. That right there, baby.
So I just gotta say this. My first thought was NWO.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, hold on. What are most of the, or all of the good factions, what were they in some way based upon? And that's clearly the Four Horsemen. They were the OGs of the OG. I mean, Hunter, because Evolution is a top faction of mine.
Absolutely.
I
That's
love
Four Horsemen 2.0.
exactly. I
And
just
actually could
think
have been better.
could have been, but I still loved it for what it was and the stars that it made. It did. Evolution was what it needed to be. It elevated Randy and Batista to be world champions and
Yes.
future Hall of Famers.
Let's not
Because
forget
you,
the faction in TNA as well, Flair, where he was trying to build new talent. Kazarian,
it wasn't that
AJ
Fortune.
Styles,
Fortune was it
Fortune. Yeah.
Fortune? Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. I mean, Flair is great at building factions, and I just
Even
think,
the main event Mafia in
yeah,
TNA
I
was
loved the main event
oh
Mafia was it was good. It was
oh
good. It
my
just
god.
wasn't on. It just wasn't on a wide scale like WWE was. It was a little more regional,
Wait
but
a second, Tommy. The Rock. Okay. Anyway, so they just keep asking about it. I'm like,
I
what do you
know.
want me to go? If you smell, I mean, what am I supposed to do? So,
Oh!
do I need to make you a poontang pie? I mean, what do I need to do here? Um, but
I can't hit the eyebrow, or I would. I'd look really
oh,
stupid
wait a
if I
minute.
tried.
Wait, let me turn it. Do you know how many years it took me to learn how to do that?
Dude, I still can't. I stopped trying. But anyway, back to the faction. NWO. Don't feed into his mess. Don't feed into Brian's mess. Don't. Stop it. Stop it. You're getting me off topic here. But dude, like the four horsemen, like you mentioned, you had every element
Oh,
that you
wait a
could
minute. I
want.
can put this on screen.
Stop boosting this man's ego right now, all right? Stop
I
it.
love it. I may put that across the show the whole time just so it covers your face.
You know what? You know what? I got 2 words for you, bucko. Suck it.
Break it down. Um, but yeah, I will agree. Four Horsemen definitely top. I'm an NWO guy, and it built off from there into the Wolf Pack, which again, Sting building something off of something, and actually made it a little bit better.
Yeah. Yeah. No, so I was gonna pick NWO. So like NWO is probably I would say my number. I think 1A 1B. I'd say Horsemen NWO because of what they did for the business. The
Yeah.
Horsemen made it cool, and the NWO revolutionized it and just made it that much better. Stop. Okay, mute her. Mute her right now. Mute her. Okay.
Hang
Because
on,
I'm
let me
sick
put
and
that up on the.
tired
Hang on.
of.
Brian is cool, dude, Tommy, and I mean I love you a lot, but Brian is just simply cooler.
You can't hide me. I'm right here, baby. You can't hide me.
What did Carlito say?
I spit in the face of people who don't like to be cool. Stop hating on me. Y'all know you love me. You can't live without me. So stop hating.
All right.
Next subject.
This is where we're gonna get in trouble together here. Overrated wrestler. The most overrated wrestler of all time. Are you ready for this? Oh my
I'm
god. This is where we fight, Tommy. All right, hang on. Let me find it.
waiting anxiously. Goldberg.
Overrated, overstimulated, overworked, very overpaid.
I mean, I can't knock you for that one. I honestly I mean, as much as I like some of his stuff, he definitely is up. He's definitely up there, but he is not my overrated.
Hogan had more moves than Goldberg did.
That's sad.
That should tell you something. John Cena had more moves than Goldberg did.
Yep.
All
But
Goldberg had was a spear and a jackknife, and that was it. The man could not technical wrestle if he tried.
And that is why Brock Lesnar is way better than Goldberg.
I agreed. When Lesnar came back from UFC, he was 1,000 times better wrestler. He never did a moonsault again.
I'm going to get into more because I'm not going to dive too much into that. Because I have in a later segment more to dive into on the whole Lesnar thing. But mine, I want you to get a picture ready. Just get it ready to type one in because the name I'm going to say might surprise people, but it honestly shouldn't.
Okay.
Jon Moxley.
I'm not going to lie.
To me, is so overrated, overhyped. He does nothing for me at all.
Like, he didn't do anything for me in the Shield.
No, he was just kind of that odd cat in the group. Like, I mean, even now he left WWE because he didn't like how they were using him, and all he's doing now is jumping off of things and cutting himself and bleeding every time someone breathes on him. Like, I don't understand the appeal of this man. Does nothing for me. Yeah. Just look at him. I guarantee you he got hit once in the head and just started gushing blood.
But Flair did the same thing, though.
I hear what you're saying, but I disagree. Because when Flair did it, it had a purpose.
Agreed.
Moxley just does it like literally every match. Flair didn't bleed every match.
Yeah.
Jon Moxley, I feel like he bleeds every single match, and there's no reason for it.
Every time I've watched him live, he's bled.
Right. Flair bled when he needed to because he told that story. If you do it right, that's what she said, it makes sense.
Yeah.
And this man literally does nothing for me. His character is so stale.
He can't carry a company.
No, I mean, like, why do you think when, like, all the time he's been champion, the company hasn't really elevated?
Yeah.
Sure, he's got a cool entrance and whatever. That's fine. Because I've been in the crowd, and, you know, it's kind of hard not to sing with him, but...
Charlie Sheen would be better coming out from Major League to that song than Moxley would.
One of my all-time favorite movies.
Just a little outside. But I will actually agree with you on Moxley. We were there with the Castaldos. We were there when we thought that Moxley broke Hangman Page's neck.
Yeah.
When they put Hangman on the shelf for a little bit, and he got on the mic in Cincinnati and just started talking shit about Hangman, and he was being escorted out to go to a medical facility. Yeah. I'm like, there's times to shoot, and then there's times not to shoot.
But yet we want to talk about CM Punk, right? Come on. Stupid. But
don't do that to me, Tommy.
But I'm going to switch gears, and I might surprise you with my underrated wrestler.
All right, hang on a minute.
I don't think you're going to think that I would have thought of this person.
All right, go for it.
Are you ready for this one?
I'm ready for it.
Underrated, Bam Bam Bigelow. Bam Bam Bigelow. Now, hear me out. Bam Bam, when he came into WWE, he had, remember he had, Fuji, Johnny V, and Slick trying to recruit him, making him seem all big. And then he got freaking Humperdinck, and it turned him, it just derailed him. And then they put him as Hogan's understudy to try to boost him up. And then ultimately, he was starting to get that push. And then, back in the day, how Andre the Giant's politics were. If he didn't like you, you weren't going nowhere.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, he didn't like Bam Bam. So Bam Bam kind of ended up seeing his way out. And then he came back, he went off, had success in WCW, went to Japan, was a huge star in Japan, won titles there, come back to WWE, getting backstage heat with the Click, which you know as well as I do. The Click back then ran it, and they were kicking people out the door. And I personally don't think that Bam Bam really got a fair shake because he was one of the revolutionary big men that was doing things he shouldn't be doing. And back when, Vince was having the guys like Yokozuna, those larger than life characters, he, in my opinion, was one of those guys that could have been one of those monster heels if you booked him right, but they never did. But tell me how everywhere else he goes, he's a superstar.
See,
But
I would rather have Vader than I would Bam Bam.
I could argue Vader for the same reasons. But
Because he did the same thing. He went to Japan, did the same thing.
Yeah. I personally like Bam Bam a little bit more than Vader. I love Vader, but Bam Bam is just a little bit more on my list. He's a little more well rounded, I thought. But yeah, I just think Bam Bam didn't get the shake, just like Vader, that he deserved and could have been a lot bigger.
I'm going on a complete curve with you on mine. And I'm actually going to go with Dean Malenko.
Okay. Do explain.
Dean Malenko was the man of 1,000 moves. He had probably one of the greatest runs with Eddie Guerrero in WCW. Almost went Trump there, didn't I? Dean Malenko could have been huge. It just wasn't in the cards. He had a great run with Jericho in WCW.
Oh, yeah, the 1,001 holds.
1,001 holds. But when Dean Malenko showed up for a match, he made everybody in the ring look good. And for that reason, I give him the most underrated on my list. The man was a technical genius. He could have you in a Boston Crab and then turn it around into a roll-up just like that.
Yeah. I mean, you think of that old run, like you had 4 guys and you had Dean, you had Ray, you had Eddie, and you had Benoit.
Yes.
That were just tearing up the cruiserweight division.
They had no idea what they had.
They didn't. Until
they had no idea.
10 years later, WWE showed you what they could have had.
Yep. I'll never forget Kevin Nash just lawn darting Rey Mysterio against that trailer.
that was so painful.
This is Mom, Tommy. Do Trump impressions for the viewers.
I've done this on Twitch before when we were playing Fortnite. He was a great wrestler. He was amazing. He's perfect. No one's better than me, though. He's great. Wonderful. Superb. You know, I can't think of anything better in the world than watching Dean Malenko in a WCW ring. It's magic, people.
Buy the Trump Bible right now.
Right now.
All right. This is where shit gets real. WWE wrestler.
This is 2003 to current.
Yes. Just hang on.
This is intriguing. Woo!
Right there. Right there. The reasons being, now follow me here, okay? Clobbering time.
It's clobbering time.
Entrance. Nothing better than Cult of Personality. Living Color. I was in the 80s and I was rocking Living Color way before CM Punk. Number 2, promo skills. Number 3, in-ring ability. Number 4, his career. If it wasn't for CM Punk, there would have not been an ROH.
That is fact. That is fact.
That shitty spinner belt that he's wearing, he made that title legitimate.
Yeah.
Then what does he do? He takes 9 years off, shows up in AEW, and what happens? Boo!
Yep.
We automatically go back into the millions with ratings. Gets into an argument with Jungle Boy, which fuck that guy, and then goes back to WWE, steals Randy Orton's thunder.
Literally.
Him coming back. What happens? Boo! CM Punk starts selling shirts out everywhere again. Nobody in this current era is better than that man, even by taking 9 years off. As my rest in peace, my aunt would say, am I true?
I want to answer the question. I think Undertaker's entrance is one of the best ever.
Hands down.
One of the best ever.
Hands down.
I got nothing else to say, but just watch it and you'll know. But mine, exactly, The Rock. You see that?
Good. Look, I did another Rock thing. Goosebumps. Goosebumps.
We're just gonna plug The Rock tonight.
Oh, by the way, there. I don't know if you ever saw that before. My Echo one.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
So
mine's gonna be very controversial.
I don't expect anything else.
And I'm fine with that because we're just talking wrestling, okay? WWE wrestler is the Rabid Wolverine, Chris Benoit.
God dang, that's as controversial as you can get.
Exactly. But I'm just going to talk about it like this. You talk about good entrance music, Our Lady Peace, whatever, one of my favorite wrestling themes. That is a banger to this day. I don't think anyone was more intense in the ring as Chris Benoit was. I could argue he's one of the most technically gifted wrestlers to ever step foot into the squared circle.
I will not disagree with that, but he's a fuckhead for killing his wife and kid.
I said I'm talking about the wrestling part, not that. Which that's a whole nother story, which we could dedicate a whole episode to the Chris Benoit saga.
You could say, did Benoit do it? Did Vince have it done? Did he owe the Mafia money? We could go into the true crime stories of Chris Benoit.
We're gonna book that as a future episode.
Yeah,
because I wanna break that down because it's a topic of mine that I love to talk about. But yeah, it just when he was having his run in WWE. I mean, sure, he was in the mid-card scene for the majority of it. I mean, when that man made the U.S. title legitimate.
Yeah, oh yeah.
He made the U.S. title legit. And when you fought him and you beat him, that boosted your career. That boosted your stock went up when you beat Benoit. Because sure, he kind of helped. He was at the later part age-wise in his career to where he was putting a lot of guys over. But when that man's in the ring, it's hard to tell. It's hard for you to find anyone better than him in the ring.
I got Pepsi Phil, as Danhausen would say.
I mean, I'm not going to knock that one. I'm just saying I'm going controversial because what other platform do I have to really say it?
None.
I'm gonna do it right now, right here, right
now. Because people would be like, "Oh, you're a murderer lover," and blah 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 blah.
Hey, the actions that happened that day, inexcusable.
Still a mystery, though.
Which is why I want to talk about it because we're gonna go down some rabbit holes, and I'm gonna have some theories for you.
I mean, we could even go into Miss Elizabeth. Did Lex Luger have something to do with her death?
Maybe you'll see the WWE Untold Stories.
In the words of the Southern Baptist preacher, is that why Lex Luger is in that wheelchair, brother? Is he living out the days that he messed up? I mean, you could do that. I mean, it's did he have something to do with it, or was it Macho Man, or did she just OD herself?
Because of some of those,
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we should book it. We should start to plan some of these out, and I think it'll be fun episodes for
Wrestling
you.
Mysteries with Brian and Tommy.
Yeah. Oh man, but let's segue into your best WWE T-shirts.
Best T-shirts. I've even got a picture for it for you guys. I thought I did. Hang on, I gotta open it up. Well, I thought I did. Hold on just a second. Production error, everybody. We're working with AEW stuff right now. Uh,
Oh man. I
all right.
got I got my shirt loaded up right here.
Oh, I got mine right here. Here we go.
That's killer, man.
I
That's
had that
killer.
T-shirt.
Do you?
Yeah, I did. I did back when I was younger. Um, and me and my brother both have one, and we didn't get it from the show. We actually bought it from a flea market. It was a knockoff, but it
See,
was
look,
still the same shirt to me.
WWF.
Yeah,
WWF.
the Terminator
Very much.
Stone Cold shirt to me is still the greatest shirt of all time.
I'm gonna go a little different route, even though you would think Stone Cold being my favorite WWF wrestler, I'd put one of his shirts up there. But like I said, childhood things hit me a little differently. If you could find the graphic, one of my favorite all time is the Eddie Guerrero "Addicted to the Heat." The black and white, just so simple but so just killer. One of my all time favorites.
The Latino Heat one.
The
Oh, there's the Addicted to the Heat. Yeah, I
Addicted
know.
to the Heat.
I've got it. I've got it. We'll pull it up here. We
One
will
of my
pull it
all
up
time.
here so everybody can see it.
Yeah, because some people might not know what I'm talking about. And it's just an amazing shirt that I
It
also
is a
have
shirt.
on. Right there, baby.
Yep.
It's, it's just Eddie in his glory. And just a black and white man. It's just so simple, but it's just so damn cool.
I will agree with that. And I didn't have that shirt, but I wish I would have.
I mean, you can get it right now on the WWE shop for a special deal of $24.74. Not even kidding. You got a special 25%
Oh
off for
my
site wide,
god.
or 30% off for $49 using code Pinfall. Yeah.
Oh god.
Oh
I do
man.
want us to go over WrestleMania moment before worst gimmick because I have for you an amazing worst gimmick. I might even have two. But here's my WrestleMania moment, and I've got it pulled up too. Maybe. Hang on. Un momento, por favor. Right there, baby. I've even got the chalk line jacket to match it.
Man, that was a great Mania match.
I
Such a good
mean, Stone Cold bleeding profusely.
and
He's in the
passing out,
sharpshooter.
passes out. He doesn't give up. He just passes out.
Passes out, bro.
I can't. I can't argue that.
It's hard to argue with that match.
Now we're talking a moment. So are you saying your favorite moment is just stone cold bleeding and then passing out. Okay.
Yes, I marked out completely. Now I didn't want
Well,
Stone Cold to lose the match, but I was like, by that point of the match, I was like, I don't care who wins. This has just been a hell of a match.
okay. I'm gonna stick with the theme I have kind of going on right now. One of my favorite WrestleMania moments ever is WrestleMania 20. You know where I'm going
Okay,
with this? Eddie and
I
Benoit
do.
in the middle of that ring. I remember where I was when that happened. I remember tearing up when it happened because just the overwhelming emotion. If we could pull that up, it was, and it doesn't get talked about because of Benoit, and I think it's sad because Eddie was involved in that, and it was just a culmination of two best friends achieving their moment on the same
Yes,
night. Eddie retained his title, and Benoit earned his first and only world title.
agreed. All right,
I
hang
mean,
on.
for our viewers,
You got me producing tonight.
I do, but you're the producer extraordinaire, so I
I
trust you.
appreciate that.
I
I
trust
haven't
you
done
to
it in
do
a long
anything.
time.
That right there.
Yep,
I mean that moment, which I'm pretty sure Peacock has scrubbed, but
everybody's
you can
scrub.
find it on YouTube. If just search it on YouTube if you want to find out. Just that moment right there. It just that's what wrestling is all about right there. Just in one picture and just encapsulated for. That's just what wrestling is at its core.
Agreed. You got Big Gold. You got Benoit hugging Eddie, and you got your favorite T-shirt of all time in the same picture.
I'm telling you, man. It was a moment, and you had one of my favorite versions of the title, the undisputed title. That belt was slick looking.
My brother has that belt hanging on his wall.
So I had like the store belt. I'd gotten it for my birthday because I used when I was younger, me and my siblings used to wrestle all the time, and like that belt, like had the nameplates. We'd write our names on it or whatever, and then like to make it look like there was blood on the belt, I'd take some like dry erase marker and I'd draw some blood on it to make it look like it was bleeding. Just hit him in the head with. we we used to come out and have like a stereo system set up, and we'd have the old WWE CDs. We'd put them in,
Yes,
and my sister, who is watching the stream now, would get our songs on, and we'd come out and do as entrances and everything. It was great. Really? So here's the thing. Here's the thing. That is a one-sided comment, and there's no anything added to it.
no proof, none.
No, there's nothing. It's just accusations. When she knows, as well as I know, as well as my brother knows, she would instigate a lot of it and want to get in on it. But then when push came to shove, she's the baby. Don't hurt the baby. But I'll take the credit for her being as tough as she is today. So you're welcome. You're welcome. That's all I gotta say.
All right, let's go into worst gimmicks, bro. This one's gonna blow your mind, and I hope that you've seen it. I really do.
If not, it'll be kind of depressing. See, why don't you put that on the screen? Why don't you put that last one on the screen?
I don't see a new comment.
Of course you don't. No one sees a new comment but me, do they? I remember when Rey Mysterio got destroyed. You said May 19th. Like it didn't make any sense to me. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
So I was at this pay per view, in 2006 at Backlash in Lexington here at Rupp, and I didn't know it was a gimmick for a movie. It was actually a gimmick for the See No Evil movie.
So I thought it was, but it was never referenced. So it's like, how are you going to
It's
try to pull something off if you don't
yeah.
tie it together?
So that was just freaky to me. That whole gimmick, and it sucks so bad. It sucks so bad. But it doesn't suck as bad as this one. Un momento, por favor.
Take your time, essay. Essay vato. Oh gosh. Shawn
Same
Michaels?
pay-per-view.
Shawn
Same
Michaels?
pay-per-view.
You're gonna wrestle? God.
But let's talk about even before Backlash 2006, which thank you, Shawn Michaels, for bleeding so much that we no longer can bleed in the state of Kentucky. Thank you for that.
Yep.
But let's look at the Christy Hemme set up in Vince's office, and she was like, "I'm sick, I need healed."
Oh,
And
it's so
she
cringy to think about now.
it's like Vince would put his hands on her head, and she's like, "No, lower," and he's like puts it at her waist, and she's like, "No, higher," and he gets her right here, and then she starts convulsing, and she's like, "I feel something," and all that stuff, and Shane comes in. He's like, "What are you doing?"
It's so
And
cringy.
oh, I mean, and now with all the sexual allegations of Vince, I'm like, it's untelling what this guy did in the backstage, man.
Oh, I'm sure there's stuff we haven't heard about yet, or we'll never hear about. Oh,
So that time that Shawn Michaels teamed up with God, and God even had his own entrance.
yep.
Little harp music. He had a spotlight.
He sure did.
I'm like, you sacrilegious pieces of shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like, and then him and Shane did the promos inside of a church. And
Yep.
I'm just like, come on, dude. What about you?
So I got two. I'm sure you'll remember them both. One is a wrestler, and another is kind of like what you had, just like a thing
Yeah.
that happened. This one is going to be a little hit and miss with certain people because some people might like it if you like R-Truth stupid bullshit. But I'm going to go with Eugene.
Yeah.
Eugene, you're basically making fun of someone who has a disability, is essentially
Absolutely.
what Vince McMahon did. And it just to watch it back now it's just, I'm like, what are you doing?
And he's from Kentucky.
Yeah. Like, what are you doing? Like,
Yeah.
hey, Uncle Eric, hey.
And then the time that he got the booger out of his nose and wiped it on Matt Stryker.
Yeah. And then he's like, and then like Hunter goes, "Who's your favorite wrestler?" He goes, "The Rock."
Wait,
Oh,
I did it for The
for
Rock.
The Rock.
Okay.
So there's
By the
that
way,
one.
though, one of the greatest promos of all time was that promo by The Rock.
Yeah.
Because he started doing
He's
Triple
like,
H.
I did it. Oh, shut your mouth, you thong wearing fatty.
And he's like, and you got Triple H, and he's like, I'm the game.
And I'm standing in the middle of the ring. Like, no,
Look,
he goes,
The Rock. Okay, so
there you go.
I even got lightning bolts behind me.
Electricity.
Sorry.
Dun, dun. My second just worst gimmick. If you remember, I think it was the middle of the 2000s. It was the death of Muhammad Hassan. If you remember that,
Yes.
when Undertaker basically killed him. and he was never seen on TV again. Like, I remember watching it. There was blood coming from his head, like he was just dead.
What a way to go out, though, right?
I mean, if you're gonna go out and Undertaker kills you, hey, but just look at it. It was dumb. Like it's I don't know.
They actually brought him back years later.
I know, but it's so bad. It's like so bad.
I
That was
just can't
back
see
like
Mark in the back going, "This is a good idea."
no, but again, he respects Vince. Business is business. I'll go do it and make it the best I
I'll
can.
go kill this guy from Saudi Arabia. No
Right,
problem.
right. And then lo and behold, now we're getting so much money from the Saudis. It's insane.
I mean, God, they've got an experience in Dubai that's opened.
Yeah, it's amazing. But again, that's like you said in that lull when it was just so stale, and they just had to try to do things to try to pass by. Oh, you want me to sing one of my favorite rock songs? He was mocking. He was going, Eddie Guerrero. You want to shut at the great one, but there's only one problem: is you never told him whether you were Cheech or whether you were Chuck. Arriba, arriba, Eddie Guerrero.
You know, best. If we got into best gimmicks, one of the best we could do, other than Vince and Stone Cold, would have to be Booker T and Stone Cold.
Oh, the grocery store.
The grocery store, bro, was amazing.
One of the greatest segments you'll ever see.
Booker T's eyes like this the whole entire time, and
Yep.
here's the loudspeaker, and
There was a picture, funny enough, that surfaced the other day, and they showed Booker T with Stone Cold behind him in the grocery store, and then a picture of Booker T, like recently in a grocery store. And he has the same eyes. Like Booker T must have some PSD going to the grocery store.
some PTSD, bro, bad. He's like, I'll never go to a grocery store again.
Uh,
But we didn't fight too much. I'm kind of impressed with that.
yeah, I thought there'd be a couple where we would, but you kind of surprised me. But I want to sing you. I want to sing you one more rock song.
Okay, go ahead.
And it's dedicated to Stephanie McMahon.
Oh my God.
I can't believe I'm singing this, but I'm going to. Here comes the test, and the hoe with the enormous breasts. So take the night off from hooking if you smell what the Rock is cooking.
Oh man, but still great gimmick. Triple H coming out at the wedding.
That was awesome.
The new Mrs. Hunter Helmsley got married in the drive-through, and he made made her mouth move.
You remember, like, Undertaker grabbed her. Where to, Stephanie?
Yep. It was me, Austin. It was me all the time.
Like, oh, son of a bitch! Damn it! I apologize. Dude, Jr. made that segment.
Oh God,
he
dude.
Wholeheartedly. If you haven't seen it, go on YouTube and look up Vince McMahon. It's me, Austin promo.
Yes.
And just listen to after Vince says it's me, Austin. Just listen to Jr.
Oh,
He just completely sells it, and that's why he's to me the GOAT commentator.
Yeah.
Because no one today can make you feel like Jr. did.
No.
Nobody.
Especially and
I bet you if we asked our buddy Prep Spin Aaron, I'm sure he would oblige.
I would think so as well. I would think so as well. I hate the crap that Samantha Irvin's getting.
She doesn't deserve any of that. She is so good at what she does.
Everybody's like, Lillian Garcia was better.
No, she wasn't.
To whose standards?
Correct. Right. Like, they both can sing, sure. But Lillian, when she announced people's names, it was pretty generic across the board. She just had a great announcing voice.
Yes.
So she naturally didn't have to do anything. She could just talk. It sounded good, but Samantha Irvin puts every ounce of her ability into every person she announces.
Absolutely. And she cries, dude. She doesn't want to know the endings of the matches.
No, that's an old JR thing. He didn't want
It
to know the
is.
outcomes because he wanted to really make it seem as authentic and legitimate as possible, which I can
But
respect.
Samantha Irvin still has not been chokeslammed by Kane like Lillian did.
That is fair.
I guess there's
A
a
lot
first
of
for
people
everything.
got chokeslammed by Kane, though.
Yeah.
I
Now,
mean,
now a lot of people are getting chokeslammed economically by Kane, but that's another story for a different show. And my mother lives in the county that he's mayor over.
oh,
So
Knoxville.
yeah, yeah. So,
Oh man, the
but
big red tax man, the big red tax machine.
oh god. Well, what's your final comments? We're going on 2 hours of this shit tonight, and
Oh, it
what's
was.
your
It
final
was.
comments for tonight?
I just gotta say one thing, Tony Khan. You still haven't answered my challenge, you dumb son of a bitch. My belt's coming. It's in production as we speak. When it comes here, yeah. Look at that pile of garbage. He looks like a pencil. His neck brace looks like the silver end on a pencil before his eraser head.
Yep. I don't think he's ever washed his hair.
No, probably not. I mean, he's got so much money, I'm surprised. But AEW needs to be better for wrestling to be better as a whole.
I completely agree.
And he's the man in charge of this downfall. He needs to be a boss. He needs to grow up. And he needs to give the people what they want, which is good wrestling. Not him and hawing and bitching and moaning about what WWE does and talking about them. Like, focus on your own stuff. You don't see them talking about you on their program. They're not going to give you the airtime.
No, they could
Sure,
care less.
sure. Hunter might get asked a round the ball, question about somebody, and he might give you a straight up answer. But he's not going to devote time to Monday Night Raw or SmackDown to it. It's dumb. Be better. You were better. Like
Until you let the Bucks in a little too much.
yeah. Now you've corrupted Tony Storm, timeless Tony Storm.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I digress. Go ahead.
Well, my final comments for the night. One, I think Backlash is going to be a pretty decent pay per view. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And for those of you tomorrow, may the 4th be with you.
Absolutely.
The 5th is my better day because I don't like Rebel Scum, but because I'm Revenge of the 5th. But I think this is going to be a good pay per view. I'm going to quit talking about Dave LaGreca so that maybe if I quit talking about him, he'll get sad and then he'll have something to say.
I mean, I would hope so because I really want to see you two go at it.
Oh,
Like
I mean, let's see, which way do I need to point? There's the belt.
yeah.
There's the belt. The belt is ready to be defended. And I'm not going to have Miss Elizabeth. I'm going to have Miss Deanna as my manager. So
she's so much better than Miss Elizabeth.
As she is. Got a lot bigger booty too, but that's beside the point.
We love you, Dee. We love you. Oh, we love
but
you,
other
Dee.
than that, this has been a fun show for me. I love taking a step back in time and just talking about things I haven't got to talk about in years.
Yeah.
And it's been a lot of fun and just saying some of those names that we haven't said in 20, 25 years.
Right. Right. It's definitely always good once in a while to take a look back and just remind us of some of the things that made us love wrestling in the first place.
Absolutely.
And just some things you don't talk about and people you don't talk about that often.
I totally agree.
And hey, out of this 2 hour show, we have some new shows lined up.
We do.
I mean, we
Tommy and Brian and Wrestling Mysteries. Like, let's get out of here, Scoops. But we want to finish the show, and thank you all for tuning in. We have had a friggin' blast. We are live every Friday night from 7 p.m. to whenever the hell we want to get done. And I truly have to say that that Tommy has done a great job tonight, that I always do a great job every night. And is that fair enough to say?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of sounded like you were putting yourself a little bit above me. That's why I gave you a little bit of a look.
Yeah, sorry. Okay, I'll change it then. Okay, so we'll do that. But for my co-host, Yankee Tommy, I am Rebel Brian. Be kind to somebody, and if they don't like wrestling, punch them in the face. We love y'all. Much love, and we'll see you next Friday, 7 p.m. sharp.